Hello everyone. Well, today marks the day that the countdown begins. Right now we are just a little bit over 2 weeks away from taking a long trip up into Tennessee. And so since I have a lot of work and everything to do during the week, that means I have to devote some weekend time to getting things ready to go. So today we are going to get that process underway, and today the motorhome is going to get a bath because we can't go down the road dirty. Alright, so it's done. We finally got it washed. I'm gonna tell you, washing this thing is a chore. Sometimes I have a service come out and wash the motor home for me, and then they'll hand wax it too, and I try to do it once, sometimes twice a year, because they put a good coat of wax on it. But otherwise, it just kind of pays to do it yourself. Yeah, I need to have them come out here so that way they can recondition my cap. But there's just a lot to wash in one of these things, and I'm going to tell you right now, from the time I started to right now, I've been at it for over 4 hours, and so it's I think it's time to call it a day today. So let's put it away for now, and then we're going to see what else we have to do in order to get this thing ready for the trip. Well, let's pick up where we left off. Oh, wait a minute. Where am I at here? I thought we were talking about getting the camper ready for a trip. Oh yeah, I forgot to tell you that part of getting the camper ready for a trip is also just going camping, because what better way to find out all the things that are working and make sure that they're working right than to go camping. So today, made a little trip over here to Thousand Trails, which we've all been here before. Go ahead and start working everything out and start working with the rig and get my tanks cleaned out, make sure everything is functioning properly with the sewer system, and you know, it's just a good way to do things, just to get over here and do things and make sure that the rig is running right. So there it is, all set up. Water hose is in place, sewer hose is in place, power is all connected. I always like to do a walk around on the coach just to make sure that everything's where it's supposed to be. AC's really running good. Thank you, Ronnie Wolf, for that. And we'll just be here for a few days and see what kind of trouble we can get into. Now, one of the things that isn't part of getting the rig ready is this thing you're looking at right now. No, as a matter of fact, she is just something else. She thinks she owns this coach. She would rather that we not go anywhere, because as soon as I put her in the rig, off she goes, and she has a mind of her own, and she would just rather just sit around and do nothing. That is one lazy dog you are looking at right there. Ain't you, Lou? You are a lazy dog, aren't you? You're just as lazy as they come. Yes, you are. So on the way over here, or the last time that you were riding along with me, in the last video, you probably noticed that I had a really bad whistle up front. Well, I've kind of isolated that to, I thought, you know, well, maybe it's the windshield. So I went around the windshield with some sealing product, and went and driving it over here to 1000 Trails, I noticed that I still have a bit of a whistle, but I have more isolated it now to be up over my head. Now, the thing that I have figured out is the only thing that's over my head are the tracking lights for the coach. And last year, coming back from Louisiana, we had a slight leak, water leak, coming in as we were driving into a downpour for about 6 or 7 hours. But thought I might have fixed that by sealing some of the joints up there on the roof, because I wasn't quite sure where that was coming in. But since the whistle is still up there, I know I still got a little bit more work to do. So today I'm going to get up there on the ladder, and I'm going to put some sealant around the around those tracking lights, and put a little bit more sealant around the windshield on the driver's side, and see if we just can't get this thing nipped in the bud. Alright, now that we got that done, we'll see if that doesn't do the trick. So we'll test it on the way home tomorrow. So one of the other things I like to do whenever I'm getting ready to go on a big camping trip is I like to make sure that my tanks are clean. So the campground here is a perfect place to do that, because since I'm staying in the motorhome for the next for one more night, well, then all of today I am going to have my tanks closed off to where the wastewater is not draining out down into the sewer system here, and it's going to collect. And that way tomorrow, whenever I go in and get ready to leave, I'll flush the tanks at that moment, and then I know that everything's nice and clean. That way I'm avoiding any troubles down the road. We get to go out today and have a little fun. We're going to go over and eat at a restaurant here on the lake this evening called Wolfie's. Kind of a beach style bar food kind of place. Here they have great crawfish. They've got all kinds of good catfish and stuff like that on Saturday night, and not to mention the fact that I hear there's quite a bit of excitement goes on over there too, so it'll be a lot of fun to go over and check it out.
Oh.
So just act normal.
What's that?
Exactly. What was that again? Okay.
They had
He'll do it again. I mean, that is a
and we each had a drink. I had tea and Richard had a beer. It was $14.
We both got active.
I'm not gonna lie, at Luby's, our drinks are like $3 basically. It's like ridiculous.
Say hi, Maddie.
Hey, Maddie.
Hi, Maddie.
Hi, Maddie. Everybody, hi, Maddie.
Oh
So the day's arrived to go ahead and leave Thousand Trails and head back to the house, and then get the rig loaded up and keep it clean and keep things kind of just running smoothly up until the time to leave here in just in less than 2 weeks to head to Tennessee. But like I said before, going camping is definitely a way to make sure that your rig is running right. And today, getting up the day before we go home, was definitely no exception to the rule. In the Alpha, we have all the controls here for the coach, where we have, you know, where we can monitor the tank levels. I can turn my water pump on and off here whenever we're not hooked up to shore power. And when you hit the monitor, it also shows your battery levels. And below that is the switch for turning on and off the hot water heater. This switch here turns on the electric side. If you're hooked up to shore power, that's the way you would run that. And this one turns on the gas, so that way it automatically will fire up by gas. Well, the problem was this morning waking up, this red light was bright red, which means that there's a problem someplace. So, had to end up going outside. Couldn't see anything there, so what do? You have to go to the troubleshooter. And when I went to the troubleshooter, the first thing it said was, go back outside, pull all the wires, which there's just 4 of, and when you plug them back in, that usually cleans the terminals. And I'll be danged if that didn't work. So, because as you saw, when I turned the switches on, no red light. So at any rate, that's just the kind of stuff that you run into, and that's the kind of stuff I wanted to see happen before I head out on a 2-week trip. So any rate, if you're going to be going out on a trip and you're wanting to make sure everything's running right, take a trip and go camping, because I tell you what, it really, really will pay off. All right, so we had a real fun trip up to Thousand Trails, got a lot done, got a lot of things accomplished while I was there with the rig, just to make sure everything's up and running right. And just so you know, we are traveling on the highway right now, and compared to the last video, you had to listen to this ungodly whistle overhead. And if you'll notice right now, no more whistle. We got it fixed, so I'm not going to have to listen to that air noise anymore. So again, the trip is a success. So we're going to head to the house, get everything kind of set back up and put around, and get it all put together. And we'll see you next time. Thank you for coming along.